Letter 9 by Charles Lamb. P.M. October 3, 1796. My dearest friend, your letter was an inestimable treasure to me. It will be a comfort to you, I know, to know that our prospects are somewhat brighter. My poor dearest sister, the unhappy and unconscious instrument of the Almighty's judgments to our house, is restored to her senses, to a dreadful sense and recollection of what has passed, awful to her mind and impressive, as it must be to the end of life, but tempered with religious resignation, and the reasonings of a sound judgment which in this early stage knows how to distinguish between a deed committed in a transient fit of frenzy and the terrible guilt of a mother's murder. I have seen her. I found her this morning calm and serene, far, very, very far from an indecent, forgetful serenity. She has a most affectionate and tender concern for what has happened. Indeed, from the beginning, frightful and hopeless as her disorder seemed, I had confidence enough in her strength of mind and religious principle to look forward to a time when even she might recover tranquillity. God be praised, Coleridge, wonderful as it is to tell, I have never once been otherwise than collected and calm. Even on the dreadful day and in the midst of the terrible scene I preserved a tranquillity, which bystanders may have construed into indifference, a tranquillity not of despair. Is it folly or sin in me to say that it was a religious principle that most supported me? I allow much to other favourable circumstances. I felt that I had something else to do than to regret. On that first evening my aunt was lying insensible, to all appearance like one dying. My father, with his poor forehead plastered over from a wound he had received from a daughter dearly loved by him, and who loved him no less dearly. My mother a dead and murdered corpse, in the next room, yet was I wonderfully supported. I closed not my eyes in sleep that night, but lay without terrors and without despair. I have lost no sleep since. I had been long used not to rest in things of sense, had endeavoured after a comprehension of mind, unsatisfied with the ignorant present time, and this kept me up. I had the whole weight of the family thrown on me, for my brother little disposed, I speak not without tenderness for him, at any time to take care of old age and infirmities, had now, with his bad leg, an exemption from such duties, and I was now left alone. One little incident may serve to make you understand my way of managing my mind. Within a day or two after the fatal one, we dressed for dinner a tongue which we had salted for some weeks in the house. As I sat down, a feeling like remorse struck me. This tongue poor Mary got for me, and can I partake of it now when she is far away? A thought occurred and relieved me. If I give in to this way of feeling, there is not a chair, a room, an object in our rooms that will not awaken the keenest griefs. I must rise above such weaknesses. I hope this was not want of true feeling. I did not let this carry me, though, too far. On the very 2D day, I date from the day of horrors. As is usual in such cases, there were a matter of 20 people, I do think, supping in our room. They prevailed on me to eat with them, for to eat I never refused. They were all making merry. In the room, some had come from friendship, some from busy curiosity, and some from interest. I was going to partake with them, when my recollection came that my poor dead mother was lying in the next room, the very next room, a mother who through life wished nothing but her children's welfare. Indignation, the rage of grief, something like remorse, rushed upon my mind in an agony of emotion. I found my way mechanically to the adjoining room, and fell on my knees by the side of her coffin, asking forgiveness of heaven and sometimes of her, for forgetting her so soon. Tranquillity returned, and it was the only violent emotion that mastered me, and I think it did me good. I mention these things because I hate concealment, and love to give a faithful journal of what passes within me. Our friends have been very good. Sam Legrice, who was then in town, was with me the first 3 or 4 days, and was as a brother to me, gave up every hour of his time, to the very hurting of his health and spirits, in constant attendance and humouring my poor father. Talked with him, read to him, played at cribbage with him, for so short is the old man's recollection, that he was playing at cards as though nothing had happened, while the coroner's inquest was sitting over the way. Samuel wept tenderly when he went away, for his mother wrote him a very severe letter on his loitering so long in town, and he was forced to go. Mr. Norris of Christ Hospital has been as a father to me, Mrs. Norris as a mother, though we had few claims on them. A gentleman, brother to my godmother, from whom we never had right or reason to expect any such assistance, sent my father £20, and to crown all these God's blessings to our family at such a time, an old lady, a cousin of my father and aunt's, a gentlewoman of fortune, is to take my aunt and make her comfortable for the short remainder of her days. My aunt is recovered, and as well as ever, and highly pleased at thoughts of going, and has generously given up the interest of her little money, which was formerly paid my father for her board, wholly and solely to my sister's use. Reckoning this, we have Daddy and I for our 2 selves and an old maid servant to look after him, when I am out, which will be necessary, £170 or £180, rather, a year, out of which we can spare 50 or 60 at least for Mary, while she stays at Islington, where she must and shall stay during her father's life for his and her comfort. I know John will make speeches about it, but she shall not go into an hospital. The good lady of the mad house, and her daughter, an elegant, sweet-behaved young lady, love her and are taken with her amazingly, and I know from her own mouth she loves them, and longs to be with them as much. Poor thing, they say she was but the other morning saying, she knew she must go to Bethlehem for life, that one of her brothers would have it so, but the other would wish it not, but be obliged to go with the stream, that she had often as she passed Bedlam thought it likely, here it may be my fate to end my days, conscious of a certain flightiness in her poor head oftentimes, and mindful of more than one severe illness of that nature before, a legacy of £100, which my father will have at Christmas, and this 20 I mentioned before, with what is in the house will much more than set us clear. If my father, an old servant maid, and I can't live and live comfortably on £130 or £120 a year, we ought to burn by slow fires, and I almost would, that Mary might not go into an hospital. Let me not leave one unfavourable impression on your mind respecting my brother. Since this has happened he has been very kind and brotherly, but I fear for his mind, he has taken his ease in the world, and is not fit himself to struggle with difficulties, nor has much accustomed himself to throw himself into their way, and I know his language is already, Charles, you must take care of yourself, you must not abridge yourself of a single pleasure you have been used to, and see and in that style of talking. But you, a necessarian, can respect a difference of mind, and love what is amiable in a character not perfect. He has been very good, but I fear for his mind. Thank God, I can unconnect myself with him, and shall manage all my father's moneys in future myself, if I take charge of Daddy, which poor John has not even hinted a wish at any future time even to share with me. The lady at this madhouse assures me that I may dismiss immediately both doctor and apothecary, retaining occasionally an opening draught or so for a while, and there is a less expensive establishment in her house, where she will only not have a room and nurse to herself for £50 or guineas a year. The outside would be 60. You know by economy how much more, even, I shall be able to spare for her comforts. She will, I fancy, if she stays, make one of the family rather than of the patients, and the old and young ladies I like exceedingly, and she loves dearly, and they, as the saying is, take to her very extraordinarily, if it is extraordinary that people who see my sister should love her. Of all the people I ever saw in the world, my poor sister was most and thoroughly devoid of the least tincture of selfishness. I will enlarge upon her qualities, poor dear dearest soul, in a future letter for my own comfort, for I understand her throughly, and if I mistake not in the most trying situation that a human being can be found in, she will be found, I speak not with sufficient humility, I fear, but humanly and foolishly speaking, she will be found, I trust, uniformly great and amiable. God keep her in her present mind, to whom be thanks and praise for all his dispensations to mankind. Coleridge, continue to write, but do not for ever offend me by talking of sending me cash. Sincerely and on my soul we do not want it. God love you both. I will write again very soon. Do you write directly? These mentioned good fortunes and change of prospects had almost brought my mind over to the extreme, the very opposite to despair. I was in danger of making myself too happy. Your letter brought me back to a view of things which I had entertained from the beginning. I hope, for Mary I can answer, but I hope that I shall, through life, never have less recollection nor a fainter impression of what has happened than I have now. 'Tis not a light thing, nor meant by the Almighty to be received lightly. I must be serious, circumspect, and deeply religious through life. By such means may both of us escape madness in future, if it so please the Almighty. Send me word how it fares with Sarah. I repeat it, your letter was and will be an inestimable treasure to me. You have a view of what my situation demands of me like my own view, and I trust a just one. A word perhaps on Lamb's salary might be fitting here. For the first 3 years, from joining the East India House on April 5, 1792, he received nothing. This probationary period over, he was given £40 for the year 1795-1796. This, however, was raised to £70 in 1796, and there were means of adding to it a little by extra work and by a small holiday grant. In 1797, it was £80, in 1799 £90, and from that time until 1814, it rose by £10 every second year. Samuel Le Grice was the younger brother of Valentine Le Grice. Both were at Christ's Hospital with Lamb and Coleridge, and are mentioned in the Elia essay on the school. Sam Le Grice afterwards had a commission in the 60th Foot, and died in Jamaica in 1802, as we shall see.